Apparently the EU has had enough. They've had enough with Israel. I've had enough with Israel. You've had enough with Israel. And finally, the European Union has had enough with Israel, or at least one very specific aspect of Israeli society. The oh, sorry. The Israeli Nazis who constantly do pogroms in the West Bank, aka settlers, the 500,000s that are illegally occupying parts of Palestinian territory and making the two-state solution impossible. They're tired of those people, or not even all of them, some of them. So they decided that they're finally going to put some sanctions on these settlers. So let's see what this is about. Let's see how big of a scope it is, if it's all of them, if it's just some of them. I have a feeling it's not going to be all of them, but we'll see.
Arson, vandalism, and other violent attacks. These are the types of actions being targeted in new European Union sanctions on Israeli settlers. According to EU officials, 7 settlers or settler organizations are being blacklisted.
We have also seen...
Wait, 7?
Settlers or sanctions on Israeli settlers. According to EU officials, 7 settlers or settler organizations are being blacklisted.
We have also seen the surge of settler violence in West Bank. Today, we reached a political agreement to sanction Israeli.
By the way, this might be one of those things with, because of, I think it was Hungary's new leader, like ousting, what was it, Orban, if I remember. Like things like this I think they've brought it up for votes before, but it hasn't passed. But I think that oh yeah, it says down here, as a change of government in Hungary ended months of blockage. So these were yeah, but it said like 7. I couldn't tell if they said 7 settlers or 7 settler organizations. If it's just 7 settlers, then that's like, come on. Like, but if it's organizations, then I mean, it's better than nothing. But it should be every single person who lives in the West Bank illegally should be sanctioned, and it shouldn't just be the EU. Should also be America. America should sanction them.
Extremist settlers and entities. Violence and extremism carry consequences.
The sanctions had been stalled by Hungary's former prime minister, but Viktor Orban's recent election loss appears to have paved the way for the veto to be lifted. The bloc also agreed to sanction several leaders of the Palestinian militant group Hamas. It comes as criticism of Israel's actions in the Middle East grows among some member states.
Okay, you might wonder why I roll my eyes. I don't know which Hamas people they decided to sanction, but I will say this. Hamas's resistance is enshrined under international law. Hamas is allowed to violently resist their occupation. That is a perfectly legal thing for them to do, okay? Their organization, their leadership, their, the political organizations that make their decisions, the Al-Qassam brigades, all of them have a legal right to violently resist their occupation. The settlers do not. The settlers, every single one of them existing on that territory is illegal under international law. And theoretically, they should, all 500,000 of them should be brought to The Hague for trial, if we're going to be completely honest. But that's probably never going to happen. The one thing that we can hope for is that when there's a Truth and Reconciliation Committee, when Palestine is finally free, that they will all get some sort of punishment. Be it if it's just 5 years in prison, 10 years in prison, whatever it needs to be. Hopefully they'll have some sort of punishment one day.
However, foreign ministers failed to agree on stronger measures to pressure Israel, like curbing trade ties. The Israeli foreign minister condemned the new sanctions, asserting that Jews have the right to settle in the West Bank.
Shut the fuck
up. The European Union has chosen in an arbitrary and political manner to impose sanctions on Israeli citizens and entities because of their political views, and
they have a right to colonize, apparently. Israel, because they're the Jewish state, apparently has a right to colonize other people's land. That's what they're saying. That's that's abhorrent. That's genocidal.
Without any basis.
The occupied West Bank has been gripped by almost daily violence involving Israeli troops and settlers since the start of the war in Gaza in October 2023. And there's been a surge in deadly settler attacks since the start of the Iran war at the end of February. According to the United Nations, more than 40 Palestinians have been killed since the start of the year, while in 2025, expansion of Israeli settlements reached its highest level since the UN began.
Yeah, they're taking advantage of the chaos as they always do, but just mark my words, man. This isn't like there comes a point where they expand too much, right? This is how it looks a lot of the time. Like, this is how it looked in Nazi Germany too, when they were expanding their borders every which way and they were overstretching themselves, right? Eventually it collapses. You're not able to sustain the amount of militarism you're doing it. Israel is currently occupying parts of Syria. They're currently occupying parts of Gaza. They have to use their entire military apparatus to protect all of these West Bank settlements, right? They're essentially occupying this territory as well in the West Bank. They're currently occupying Lebanon. Again, it works until it doesn't. And one day they will be stretched so thin, and it's not going to be some like small collapse or like some small retreat. It's going to be a major collapse whenever, if you get if you overextend like this much, so and especially if America stops supporting them with with money, like with whatever billions of dollars that they funnel straight from my tax, like straight out of my wallet and my taxes and my paycheck, and just shoot it straight over to Israel. Eventually, if they stop doing that, then they won't even be able to, they won't they won't be able to support their West Bank and Gaza stuff, let alone like Lebanon, Syria, like all of the other surrounding countries, So, yeah, I don't know. There's hope. There's hope at the end of the tunnel. It is just really sad right now, though. At least there's some sanctions on them. It shouldn't just be the EU, though. Everybody should be sanctioning them, and America should sanction them. And not only them. There should be sanctions on the entire country of Israel. Israel shouldn't be able to do, to like fucking like do your dishes, like they shouldn't be able to handle any money. They shouldn't nobody should be allowed to do any monetary dealings with Israel until they decide to, act like a normal fucking country and give all the people inside of their boundaries rights. And that includes Gaza and West Bank, because at this point it is a one-state reality that controls the entire West Bank and Gaza. It's just a one state where you have a certain segment of the population that is pinned and caged in and is not allowed any rights or anything, and it's constantly dominated and constantly bombed every few months or whatever. We need to just sanction them and invade them if we have to, and force them into peace.